Alright, so in this video I'm going to look at modeling two-step equations and how to solve those models. So with this one, I'm going to start off modeling 2x plus 3. So for 2x, remember up here the positive green rectangles represent positive x's and a white rectangle would represent a negative x. For my ones tiles, a red square represents a positive 1 and a white or blank square represents a negative 1. So I'm going to start off on the left-hand side of my equal sign. I have this. I have 2x plus 3. So that means I have two x's. Okay, so there's 1 and there's 2. And then I have 3 1s. So I'm going to draw my 3 1s. They are positive, right? Because it says plus 3. And since I don't use any symbols in my models, I'm going to put in my 3 1s here. Now, when we have done our modeling before, I've always said to put it into however many rows there are. But this is a problem because I have 2 rows, right, where I have my x's, but I only have 3 red 1s. I can't put those into 2 equal rows. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more here in a second. On the right-hand side, I have positive 11, so I need to make sure that I write out 11 of these positive 1s, and I apologize that it takes me a little while to draw them. I wish there was a faster way for me, but I got to do it. There we go, there's 11. So here's my equation to start with. So I have 2 x's on the right-hand side, okay, 2x, and then I have 3 1s that are positive. So this is really 2 x's plus 3 1s. On the other side, I have my 11 1s. And again, I've tried to put them into 2 equal rows, but 11 just doesn't split nicely into 2 equal groups. Because I can't get anything to split nicely into groups, the first thing I'm going to get rid of is these guys. They just don't fit into my groups. They're kind of annoying. I'm going to get rid of those guys first. Okay, since they won't fit into my rows the way I want them, I'm going to get rid of them. So the way to get rid of 3 red tiles is, remember, I put in my opposite, which is 3 white tiles. But because of my equal sign, I need to treat both sides equally. So when I add something onto one side, I have to do the same on the other. On the left-hand side of our equation here, I get a nice 0 pair. Those 3 reds cancel with the 3 whites. I can kind of cross them out one at a time, right? And on the right-hand side, the same thing happens. Those guys cross out, these guys cancel, these guys cancel. And so what I'm left with after doing that is I now have my 2 green x tiles. So I still have my 2x. And on the other side, I now have only 8 1s instead of 11. And now, when I look at my rows, I actually do have 2 nice equal rows, right, on both sides. So now I can split into 2 equal groupings, right? One grouping has an x and 4 1s, and the second grouping also has an x and 4 1s. So each group has a single x as well as 4 of my 1s. And that gives me the nice solution of x is equal to positive 4. And there we go, that's using our model. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, so I've got 3x plus 5 now. So 3x, I'll draw my 3x's 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm told that I've got to have 3 of those x's, plus 5. So that means I'm going to be having 5 1s, and I'm going to have those 5 1s are positive because I've got a plus sign. So I'm going to put in my 5 1s like that. And again, I try to organize them into my 3 equal rows, but it just doesn't work. On the other side, on the right-hand side, I have negative 1. So I've got one little square all by itself, and I definitely can't split that into 3 equal rows. Now, I can't split into equal rows, which is annoying. That's what I have to do to figure out how much is in each group. So I got to get rid of these guys. I want these guys to go away. The way I would get rid of 5 red squares is I would add in 5 white squares, right? So if I've got positive 5, the opposite of that is negative 5. And what I do on one side, I must do to the other. So I'm going to subtract, or I'm going to have 5 white tiles on the other side as well. On the left, these guys cancel, and I have a lovely 0 pair there. And on the left-hand side, all I'm left with now is my 3 x's, or my 3 rows. And that's great. I just want to have the x's only on the left-hand side so I can figure out what's in each row. On the right-hand side, nothing cancels, right? Nothing cancels. These guys are all buddies, right? They don't make a 0 pair because they're all the same type of thing. So what happens is they just group together. And you might kind of be able to see this from the drawing above. If I take that single white square that I start with, I really could just move it there. And I have my 1, 2, 3 nice equal rows. I have a row that's got an x and 2 negative 1s, and another one that's got an x and 2 negative 1s, and another one that's got an x and 2 negative 1s. And so in total, each row contains an x and 2 negative 1s. And that's great because my solution then is x is equal to negative 2. Okay? How does this work if I change it around and instead of having all these positive x's, what if my x's happen to be negative? And I've got my negative 4x here, and I write that in. So I got 4 white rectangles. How does this change what we're doing? So I've got negative 4x and then minus 9, so I've got to have 9 white white squares. Okay, so I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, ooh, that one got a little bit crazy, 7, 8, and then number 9. Again, it does not fit into 4 nice rows. What a pain. Okay, on the other side, on the right-hand side, it's still negative 1, so I definitely can't split that into my nice rows. Okay, now, oh, I keep drawing this line too early. Whoops. Now, since I can't get these into 4 equal rows, I got to get rid of them. And the only way I'm going to get rid of those 9 negative x's, or those 5, oh my goodness. The only way I'm going to get rid of those 9 negative 1s is by putting in 9 positive 1s, or 9 red ones. And the way I'm going to counteract that, on the other side, I have to make sure that I do the same thing on both sides of my expression. On both sides of my equation. The equal sign says I need to treat both sides the same. So if I'm going to add 9 on the left, I have to add in 9 on the right. On the left-hand side, they all just cancel each other. They make a big 0 pair, right? Cross out one of each, and you keep going until you've crossed out all of them. There are no more whites, there are no more reds. On the right-hand side, these guys kind of sneak together to make a 0 pair, and they cancel. And now look what's left. I got my 4 negative x's. And if you look, I actually drew it on the right-hand side where I have 4 equal rows already. 1, 2, 3. I just can't do the squares anymore. I'm sorry, it's so hard on the tablet to do squares and color them in. So I'm just going to use the dots. Okay, they are squares. My apologies. Ooh, that one does not look like a dot. You'd think I would be better at this by now, but it's still really hard to write on the tablet. I wish I had a nice stylus. Anyway, so now I have 4 equal rows. Yes, a negative x and 2 1s, a negative x and 2 1s, a negative x and 2 1s, a negative x and 2 1s. And we think that's awesome. Each row has a negative x and 2 red 1s. But this is a problem because right now my statement says negative x is equal to positive 2, and I don't want that. So remember, I need to flip my tiles to their opposite colors. So I need to go from being a white x and flip it to green. And when I flip the one side, I have to flip the other side. I have to treat both sides the same. So I flip my two red ones to become two white ones. And so what happens is I go from negative x to positive x. On the other side, that means I go from positive 2 to negative 2. And so my answer is x is equal to negative 2. Okay? There's one more here that I want you to look at. It says, what equation is being modeled? Complete the model to solve the equation. So it would be a good idea for you to pause the video now, see if you can figure out what the equation is that's being modeled, and then try to complete the equation. So I'll give you a second and let you pause the video. Okay, when we're looking at this, we can clearly see I've got 3 of these x's, and those x's are not colored in. So I've got 3 x's, but since they're not colored in, that means I've got minus 3x, or negative 3x. I then have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ones, and they're positive. So in between, I put that positive sign, and then 7. So I'm starting off with 3x plus 7. Then this right here going down is my equals sign. On the other side, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ones, and they're all positive, so I can put that in as positive 4. Now you don't need to put the positive sign there. If it helps you sleep at night, put in the positive sign, nothing wrong with it. But I could just leave it as negative 3x plus 7 is equal to 4. All right, I'm going to let you go ahead and try to finish the model. I'll have it pop back up on the screen so you can see the completed one, but I'm not going to talk you through it. Okay, so that is modeling two-step equations.